Stop saying sorry so much. The hows, whys, and how-tos of over-apologising. The word sorry has got to be one of the most misused words in the English language. If you're the sort of person that walks into a bit of furniture and says sorry to it, then this is for you. Today I'm going to be talking about the word sorry itself, what an apology is like, why we apologise too much, and perhaps most importantly, how to stop over-apologising. When people say sorry, it should be because they've done something wrong or accidentally, unintentionally put someone out. That's why you apologise. You don't need to say sorry for anything else other than that. Because an interesting dynamic takes place when you make an apology. What happens is you say sorry, and then for a brief period of time, or in some cases a very long period of time, for a brief period of time, you position yourself as lower than the person you're apologising to. I mean, think about it. When someone says sorry, they will often follow it up with something like, I owe you one, I'll make it up to you, you're the best, I'm the worst, something like that. So there's this dynamic shift where all of a sudden you are looking up at the person saying, oh, I'm sorry, I've done something wrong, I'm worse than you, you're better than me. Now, that's okay if the apology is being made for a good reason. An apology comes in 4 stages. 1, an apology is made. 2, something is done in order to make up for it. 3, some time passes. And then 4, things return to normal. Now, an apology is all about making things go back to how they were before. You made a mistake and then you make up for it. Now, I will make a point with point 4 that, sometimes if you mess up really badly, things can't return to normal, but let's not dive deep into that at the moment. Now, that's all fine. That's all fine if the apology is necessary. This kind of positioning yourself as worse than, making up to them, etc., etc. However, if you're apologising when you haven't done anything wrong, once or twice, yeah, maybe that's fine. But when it becomes a pattern of behaviour where you're constantly positioning yourself as lower than the person that you're apologising to, then the dynamic shift doesn't just happen briefly, it starts to become a long-term thing, and that can be damaging for so many reasons. Apologies are supposed to be made when you've failed or you've let someone down, done something wrong in some way, and there is some level of conflict. And I don't mean necessarily fighting, but there's some discord, the peace isn't quite there. So why do people apologise too much or so much? Here's some reasons why people apologise. The fact that they're uncomfortable with any level of conflict. Not wanting to upset or disappoint people. Wanting to be considered nice or polite by people. Low self-esteem. If something's gone wrong, it must be you that's caused it, right? You're a perfectionist, and because you have unobtainable standards which you feel like you've got to hit, when you don't hit them, you've done something wrong, clearly. Making excuses for someone else. For example, apologising for a partner who's drunk and misbehaving at a party. Habit. This is where the furniture apologising starts coming in. You say sorry, the word sorry fall out of your mouth before you've even had a chance to assess whether it's you that's even done something wrong. Now, it may be the case that you think that because you apologise so much that you come across as nice and polite. That isn't quite how it works. Studies have shown that people who apologise too much are often seen as needy, desperate, and sometimes untrustworthy, because if you're saying sorry so much, it must mean you make a lot of mistakes, so you therefore cannot be trusted. That's a really harsh one in my opinion. Less confident and weak. None of these traits are really what anyone wants to strive for in their life, let's be honest. How to stop saying sorry so much. So how do you do it? I mean, if you're the sort of person who the word sorry slips out of your mouth before you've even had a chance to assess the situation, then how do you stop doing it? Well, if you like, you can look back into the past and you can look at the relationship dynamics that you've grown up around, how you've been brought up. For example, did you have one partner who was terrified of the kind of violence or the shouting that the other partner would bring if even the smallest little thing was wrong and they said sorry just to keep the peace all the time. If you've grown up around something like that, then it's very likely that you've picked up on the same thing, that, if there's anything that's gone wrong, it is your duty to apologize for that so that there's utter peace, there's no conflict whatsoever. Now, if that's the sort of thing that is resonating with you instantly, then it can be really helpful to work through those sort of things with a counsellor. Counsellors quite often deal with helping people overcome things that happened in the past and kind of gain peace with those sort of things. That's not how I work as a cognitive behavioural hypnotherapist. Cognitive behavioural hypnotherapy, or CBT, is all about dealing with things which are in the present. So talking about how things affect you in the here and now. That's not to say that counselling is wrong or CBT is right. They are just different approaches to trying to get you to exactly the same place. I'll be completely honest, regardless of what route you decide to go down, there isn't a quick fix where overnight, all of a sudden, you are cured and you don't say sorry too much anymore. I have put together 7 different things that you can do to help you stop apologising so much. Now, these can be words in conjunction with each other, or you can just kind of listen and kind of pick the one that you want to try first. But all 7 of these things can help you to stop over-apologising. Number 1, tweak how you talk about certain things. Now, people tend to apologise and say sorry at times when an apology really isn't necessary. So let's dive into a few examples of this and how you can tweak it to stop apologising so much. Stop apologising when you're giving your opinion. Now, a lot of people will say, let's say there's a conversation about TV programs or whatever, and let's say someone says, well, I'm sorry, but I think that Squid Game is actually awesome. What? You're apologising for having an opinion? No. Cut off that I'm sorry part and just say the sentence perfectly normally. I think Squid Game was awesome. The I'm sorry part at the start, completely unnecessary. Stop saying sorry when you're saying no to someone. So let's say that you're at work and someone asks you to do something and you simply haven't got the time, or it isn't your job. People tend to say, I'm sorry, no, I can't actually do that. Are you really sorry? Have you done anything wrong? Have you failed them? Or were they asking too much in the first place? So rather than saying that, say, unfortunately, I'm too busy at the moment. So unfortunately is, you're showing regret for the situation, but there's no need to say the words, I'm sorry. Stop apologising for existing. Let's say you walk up to the receptionist at the doctor's and say, oh, I'm sorry to bother you. What? You're sorry for talking to the person whose job it is to greet people. That's their job. What? How about excuse me, or pardon me? Pardon me is a little bit formal, but excuse me, and then you talk to them. You don't have to say sorry for merely existing. Stop apologising when your feelings are hurt. So let's say someone's cheated on you, and you're talking to your partner and saying, well, you cheated on me, and I'm sorry, but that really makes me feel mad. What? Someone's done something really awful to you, and you're the one apologising. Say, what? Your feelings are valid. Now, whatever someone cheating on you makes you feel is completely and utterly valid and doesn't require any apology whatsoever. You can simply say, what you did has really upset me. What you did has made me furious. What you have done has made me mad. Don't need to apologise for any of that. Stop apologising for needing help. You can't be expected to be able to do absolutely everything. So if you need some help with something, you don't need to say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm useless, I just can't do this all by myself. No, you don't need to do that. Now, we'll get into this a little bit more lately, but changing the word from sorry to thank you is so much more powerful and so much more pleasing to hear. So rather than saying, oh, sorry, I can't do this by myself, I'm useless, you can turn to the person who's helped you and say, hey, thanks for your help, really appreciate it. No apology necessary. Stop apologising for disagreeing with someone. If you can have a conversation where you and someone else don't have the same opinion and disagree without there being a conflict. You don't need to apologise for any of that. So you can just voice your opinion, which is valid. voice your feelings, which are valid, none of which require an I'm sorry at the start of them. You just say it as it is. So moving on from the tweaks, we're on to number 2, find out when you say sorry. Now, this is going to be a bit of a strange thing perhaps, but start keeping a record of when you say sorry. So like a sorry diary. Now, becoming very aware of when you do this sort of thing is going to be very, very beneficial to you, because what's going to happen is you're going to become very situationally aware. So you might find that it's always at work, or it's always around certain people, or it's always it's always when you're down the pub, or it's always when you're with your partner. In these circumstances, you can prime yourself to go, right, okay, I know I say sorry all the time when I'm at work. So when I'm at work, I'm going to do my absolute best to not apologise for the things that I don't need to apologise for. But you have to become situationally aware in the first place, hence the sorry diary. Number 3, make a sorry count. Now, this is going to be quite interesting, I think, but you'll be blown away, perhaps, if you actually write down or just make a little tally chart of every single time you say sorry in a day. If you're the sort of person that apologizes all the time, this could run into the hundreds. It will terrify you. And just becoming aware that you apologize that much does 2 things. Number 1, it's just like a wake-up call of like, holy shit, I said sorry 100 times today when I did 2 things wrong. Like, could potentially blow you away. And the other thing is, it gives you a chance to show your progress. So let's say you hit 100 apologies in one day. Well, your goal for the next day is to try and get to like 99 or 98. Just going, right, okay, well, yeah, I don't want to say I'm sorry 98 times in a day, but it's better than 100. So it gives you that chance to kind of progress through, and seeing your progress will actually help you to kind of exponentially increase your progress. Number 4, correct yourself. Now, this is a really, really important one, I think, because it retrains your brain. So let's say that you're running late and you meet up with a friend and you say, oh, I'm sorry I'm late. Right. If you do that, it's like saying you're sorry for being late. That's not the worst thing in the world to apologize for, to be completely honest. But there are better things to say. So a better thing to say would be, thanks for waiting. Thanks for being so patient. Thanks for always being so patient with me. Something along the lines of that. But to actually correct yourself in the moment will actually retrain your brain so that when you're in that situation again, you actually say what you want to say, which is one of the thank you statements. It would go something like this. Sorry for being late. Actually, what I meant to say was, thank you for being so patient. Now, I realise it's going to be a bit weird, but it is part of retraining your brain. It's not so weird that people are like, what? It's you retraining your brain, and it's a really important thing to do. Number 5, say thank you instead of sorry. Now, you just heard a little example of that, but there are so many different ways in which you can use thank you instead of sorry. So if you've done the thought diary, for example, you will know what you're apologising for or how you are apologising. But here's a few examples of how to say thank you instead of sorry. So as you just saw, sorry for being late can be thank you for being so patient. Sorry I'm such an anxious person can be changed to thank you for always supporting me. Sorry for complaining and whining all the time can be changed to thank you for giving me your time and listening to me. Sorry I'm so scared of spiders can be changed to thank you for being the most awesome spider catcher in the world. So next time you notice yourself apologise, just try and catch exactly what it is you're saying and see if you can think of a way to put thank you into that statement instead of sorry. Because not only is it a better thing for you, but it's a better thing for the other person to hear, because it almost comes across as a compliment rather than you kind of lowering yourself down, I'm sorry, or almighty and I'm terrible. It's more like you're saying you're a good person rather than I'm a bad person. I hope that makes sense. Number 6. I don't need to do the fingers thing. You're grown up, so you can understand numbers. Number 6. Ask yourself what you're apologising for. So when you apologise for something, just take a step back and go, hang a minute, what am I actually apologising for in this situation? So let's say your partner gets home and you've been busy working all day and there's been other things going on, and you say, "Oh, I'm really sorry, it's only beans on cheese on toast for dinner tonight." So what are you apologising for? You're apologising for the fact that you're really busy, didn't have much time because you were so busy, and despite being overworked and probably a bit stressed out, you still managed to put a hearty meal of beans on cheese on toast on the table. I'm sorry, what you're apologising for? Is that something that really needs apologising for? I think not. Whereas if you're kind of not paying attention, you're rushing through a bar and you knock someone's drink over, that's when you say, "I'm sorry, let me buy you another drink." Because you've done something wrong accidentally, unintentionally, but you have put someone out, and this is what you have to do to make up for them. So what am I apologising for? I'm apologising for the fact that I'm a bit of a klutz, I wasn't paying attention, I spilled someone's drink. And that's fine. Number 7, work on your self-confidence and your low self-esteem, potentially your anxiety as well. There are numerous different resources out there for helping you with such things. I have blogs, I have podcasts, I have videos, all about helping various different assets of anxiety and self-confidence and self-esteem. So you can kind of trawl through my archives and find something to help you from there. Because as we mentioned, if you feel low on confidence, if you feel low on self-esteem, then it's much more likely you're the sort of person that's going to feel like you have to apologise. You're the one that must have done something wrong, even if it's the case that isn't actually true. Check out the show notes below, and there will be a link to a self-confidence blog and a self-esteem blog as well. Let's be clear. Saying sorry too much doesn't make you a bad person, but it can affect how other people view you. People who say sorry too much can feel that perhaps if they make a change and they stop apologising so much, they will end up not apologising at a time when they need to make an apology. And I want to be absolutely clear on this as well. That simply isn't going to happen. You're not going to use any of the 7 things above and all of a sudden become this kind of sociopathic monster who doesn't realise when they've actually done something properly wrong. That will just never happen. But what can happen is that by apologising time and time and time again, and people knowing that you apologise so much, it actually waters down the sincerity of your apologies when you have to make like a genuine one. So let's say you're apologising for the furniture all the time. Well, when you actually have to apologise for something real, people go, "Well, she's the sort of person that, I saw her apologise to the toaster for invading its personal space earlier. Does she really mean sorry if she can say sorry for that?" As I mentioned towards the start, this is going to be a gradual process. It's not going to be something where all of a sudden you click your fingers and everything becomes better. But by employing any of the 7 or all of the 7 tactics that I spoke about earlier on, you can get things better. Bit by bit, you will slowly improve. Now, if you're feeling like self-confidence, anxiety, self-esteem is a larger issue for you, and you'd like to have a conversation with myself about it one-to-one, then there's a link below to have a free discovery call with me to see if I'm the sort of person that can help you with whatever issue you're facing at the moment and to get you apologising a much more sensible amount. So, sorry for wasting. No. Thanks for listening. See what I did there? That was clever.